Hello lovers, how you are doing today? Welcome to this very exciting episode of Finding Love. I am Grace Renner. Finding Love is a relationship and marriage show that instills the right foundation for marriage with the knowledge and understanding that marriage is God's idea. God is the root of marriage. It is an insightful show that prepares one for marriage. So if you're ready for the journey of marriage and you desire to do it the way the creator of God has created it, this is the right show for you. Now, if you have not subscribed to my YouTube channel, this is a good time to subscribe. Subscribe and do click the notification bell so that whenever I post a video, you will get a prompt. Okay, I'll be right back. You're welcome back, guys. So we've been on a series titled Red Flags and Character Flaws. Okay, so today we'll be continuing from there. Now today we'll be talking about reasons to correct character flaws or reasons to address character flaws in your partner. Now by address I mean have conversation about it. Let your partner, whoever it is you're looking to be with or you're with, know that this is what you have observed and they should look into it. Give them an opportunity to look into this said character flaw. Okay, so because like I always say, you cannot change anybody. You can only help them to do what they want to do. If they want to change, they would change. Okay, but we're not going into that today. Look out for my next video on how to correct character flaws in your partner. Things like be polite and be kind with your words when you're correcting them. Okay, but for today we're talking about the reasons why you should address character flaws in your partner. Address it, talk about it. Okay, number one reason to address a character flaw in your partner is this: they might not know about it. Okay, now some people might genuinely not know that they're doing something, or they have a character flaw that might be pissing you off or annoying you, or might be injurious to the relationship. Okay, but telling them about it, addressing it, bringing it before them, bringing it to their knowledge might help them to know. Okay, so as much as possible, do not assume that somebody already knows or they are supposed to know that the thing is annoying you. Addressing it might bring a major solution to your relationship or marriage. Okay, so let me give a personal example. Like I always give personal examples. I remember one time my mom told me, that she has observed there's something I do, that whenever we're having conversation, maybe she's talking to somebody or me and her are talking, I will just change the topic. Now I didn't know I was doing I didn't know I was doing that until she told me I was doing it. And like maybe we might be talking about what we should eat for dinner, and I'll just come from nowhere and say, hey, did you hear that Genevieve Nnaji is one of the best actors in Nigeria? And she'll be like, I'm talking about something very important and you are talking about Genevieve, so it made me learn to realize that this might be annoying her, and if it's annoying her, if I continue like this, it might annoy somebody else that I might be dating or in a relationship with. So what I do now, if we're talking about something important, and let us finish. Or if I want to talk about somebody, I'll say, oh, please remind me, I want to talk about this person when you are done, so that I don't forget. So if you give me that cue that, oh, you said we were going to talk about so and so person, I'll now remember, oh yes, that's true. It's just good manners. And small things like this are things that cause problems in relationship. It might just send a message to your partner that what they're saying is nonsense, or you are not interested in what they're saying. People read things differently. You just might not know how much damage that flaw might be doing to somebody else. But the first thing is to make sure that you tell them, address it, tell them how you feel about what they're doing, tell them what they're doing and how you feel about it. You're not suggesting to them to change it, but just drop it. Let them know that, oh, this is something that you do that somewhat annoys me. Okay. Number two, because you love them. Now when we love someone, it's our responsibility to draw their attention to things that they're doing when they're not doing right. Okay, Now there's a popular proverb that says it's only your friend that can tell you that your mouth is smelling. Okay, so if you're in a relationship with somebody and you cannot tell them, oh, this is something that you do, or you cannot correct them, it shows that there's something wrong in that relationship. That relationship is questionable. Okay, so because you love them, when you notice certain character flaws, always address it, always point it out. Now, like I said, there's a way to do it, but not doing it at all is a very big problem. Okay, and I'll give you an example. Now, I have a partner that takes alcohol. He gets drunk. Now, I know that in the long run he'll probably have liver or kidney problem, or whichever problems are associated with, or even can even get broke, because you keep taking alcohol. Now, I can already see that there's going to be a problem with the person in the long run. Now, because I love the person, I'll let them know that what they're doing is somewhat destructive to them, and that it's also affecting the relationship. Okay, so because you love them, that is a good reason to address a character flaw. Number 3, because that might be one of your assignments in the person's life. Now, sometimes God sends us into somebody's life at a particular time for a particular reason or specific reason. It might not necessarily be for marriage. It just might be because you have been sent to, deliver somebody or save somebody from something that would destroy them in future. Let me give you an example now. Say someone who is financially reckless with money. Now, when we meet somebody new, maybe they're trying to impress us, they become extravagant with their financial resources. Now, if this character traits continues over a while, it means that the person is financially reckless. Now, it's good for you to point it out, because if you do not address it, it might lead to the person becoming poor in the long run, because they would not save, they would not invest, and then they start borrowing money, or get to a point in life where they might just be completely poor. Okay, now God might be wanting to save you from, or save the person, use you to save the person from being poor in future. Okay, so God might just send you into that person's life. So if you're with somebody currently and the person is wasteful, it's a good time to address it. Tell the person about how you feel about how they spend money, how wasteful they are with their resources. Okay, that might be your assignment. This I'm just talking about financial recklessness. This is just one example. There might be other examples. I remember I shared during my heartbreak series, I remember I shared that somebody that broke my heart eventually got converted by me. He eventually got converted by me. He started to read his Bible more and things like that. Now, I awakened that on the inside of him. That was my assignment in his life. Okay, if I didn't do that at the time, I would have missed that assignment. So sometimes our reasons for being in somebody's life, or our reason to address a character flaw, might be that might be one thing that God wants you to do in the person's life. Number 4, to help them become a better version of themselves. Now, people should not come in and out of your life and remain the same. Okay, so it's your duty as a human being first to make sure that whenever people come into your life, they become better versions of themselves. Okay, so when someone comes into your life and you notice a character flaw, or you're dating somebody and you notice a character flaw, it's a good thing to address it with them. Let them know that this is something that they're doing that is not good, or something about their character that might not be good. Now, I'll use this scripture, Proverbs 13:24. It says, "He that spareth his rod hateth his son, but he that loveth him chasteneth him betimes." Okay, so it's very important that you address character flaws when you see it in somebody. Okay, just because you do not want them to remain the same, you want them to be a better version of themselves. For instance, someone that has an entitlement mentality might not know that they are an entitled person. Okay, but bringing it up with them, letting them know that, oh, you find it difficult to say thank you when someone does something for you. It's not a good thing. How do you feel when someone says thank you to you? And that is how someone else will feel when you say thank you to them. Okay, so these are things that they might not know about, but subtle things like addressing it might help to bring out the better version of the person. Number 5 reason to address a character flaw in your partner is because you love yourself. Now, one of the signs that you do not love yourself is allowing people, to misbehave in relationships and letting them get away with it. If you love yourself, you will correct it, because when you do not correct it, it evolves into something even bigger, and then it becomes more difficult to change or to address it in the long run. And a lot of the times people are afraid to, correct or address the character flaw in their partner because they're afraid of losing the relationship. And when you do that, it means that you're not being sincere, and what happens eventually is that you end up losing that relationship, or it becomes an unhealthy relationship for you to remain in. Now I'll give I'll give a scriptural reference. Job 3:25. It says, "For the thing which I greatly feared is come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me." Like I said before, a lot of the times when you're afraid to correct somebody because of the fear of losing the relationship, it leads to eventually losing the relationship. So it's important that when you say a character flaw, because you love yourself, correct them. Okay, someone who is verbally abusive, if you do not correct them on time, with time they might hit you, they might become physically abusive. Okay, because these things with character is that any bad character that you tolerate, anything that is harmful to the relationship that you tolerate, they eventually become a bigger problem in future. They evolve. Okay, so that is a good reason to correct a character flaw, or to address a character flaw. Always address it. Do not be afraid of losing the relationship at your own expense. Okay. Number 6, because it is bothering you or you're uncomfortable with it. Now, if you're in a relationship with somebody and they have a character flaw, or they are doing something that is making you uncomfortable, it's good to address it, just because it is, bothering you. Now, the thing is, if you do not address it, it will start to build resentment in your heart towards the person, and why would you want to be in a relationship with somebody and have so much resentment towards them over something that you can address, and the solution might not just be far away. Okay, so it's important that you address things that you are not comfortable with just because it is bothering you. It's enough reason, the fact that something is bothering you. For example, you might be dating somebody and they're still communicating with their ex, or they're still in contact with their ex. Now this might be bothering you. Address it, because what might happen if you do not address it is this: you might start to compete with the person, or you might start to have trust issues, towards your partner. Whatever they say or do, you begin to question it, because you don't know if they're still having a relationship with this person. This is just one of the examples. Okay, so it's important that you address it, just because that's enough reason, just because it is bothering you. Number 7 and the last, for clarity, and that's the reason to address a character flaw. Now I'm going to read something from a book by Pastor Renner that I read that really touched me, how I almost ruined my marriage. But before I read it, let me just touch on for clarity. Now, like they say, assumption is the basis form of knowledge. Sometimes, because of our own perception, or how we see things, or what our minds are telling us, we tend to assume that things are a certain way and they might not be. Okay, let me just read something. It's quite long, but let me read it all the same. It says, in page 52 of How I Almost Ruined My Marriage, it says, a lot of relationships are suffering because there are a lot of assumptions. Now she talks about herself. She says, I was very fond of assuming things, actions and inactions in my marriage. Once my mind was fixed on a thing, I would believe it to be true without looking for facts. I was always quick to interpret how my husband spoke to me or didn't speak to me. I remember when he would correct me about anger, instead of seeing the correction from his own point of view, I would think to myself that he meant, that what he meant was that I was not a good person. Thinking about it now, how does you have an anger problem mean you aren't a good person? This is what assumption does in a relationship. It makes you believe that you're always right and that the others are wrong. Many of us have walked away or are about to walk away from relationships that God may have blessed us with just because of assumptions. Okay, now it says, I'll just move quickly. We make mistakes in our marriages because of how we interpret what our spouse is saying or doing, or what they aren't saying or doing. Oftentimes we look for interpretations in our heads. Okay, so that is a reason to actually address this issue. So when you observe a particular thing that you feel is a character flaw, instead of assuming that this is why this is, or this is what it is, address it, speak to them about it. Okay, so on our next episode, we'll be continuing from here. We'll be talking about specific character flaws and, solutions to these character flaws, how to address them, what to say, the right things to say, or, things like that. So do look out for this episode. Alright, so I've come to the end of this episode. If you have not subscribed, please do subscribe and then tap the notification bell, so that whenever I post a video, you'll get a prompt. Okay, and then on this particular video, please share, like, and do whatever you can to support my videos. Comment. I love to interact with you. I always like it when you put comment on my videos. Okay, I love to interact. You can make suggestions to me, tell me what the things that you like for me to talk about, and I'll look into it and we just might talk about it. Okay, I remain Grace Renner. See you in the next video.